Welcome inside Sound Off Sports. On today's show, we're talking about President Trump's executive order to fix college sports. We get your thoughts. Plus, we're talking the Masters. Yes, it's Masters week. We have a former golf pro coming in to tell us all about it. Let's do this thing. Sound Off Sports starts right now.
Make some noise. This is Sound Off Sports, sponsored by Silver State Schools Credit Union.
Welcome inside Sound Off Sports. I'm Mike Davis, joined by James Edward Barrickman the fourth. James, we got a good show today. It's Masters week. I thought you'd be wearing green. You usually play into the theme.
I'm playing into the theme. I'm a little late on the theme. I got my my Crown basketball hoodie on.
College basketball Crown, your alma mater.
The West Virginia Mountaineers, baby.
How did that feel
Big
to
dubs.
win that, baby?
Well, it's not the national championship,
yes,
but in my 10 plus years of being a West Virginia fan now, we don't win a lot of things. So I was waiting for that letdown, and it never came for once, and it looked bleak a lot of times. So shout out to Coach Ross Hodge, Honor Huff, who broke the WVU 3-point season record. Yep.
Okay.
And Trey Eaglestaff, who stepped up in the tournament too, man. It was a lot of fun.
James was having the time of his life.
A lot of momentum going into next season too. Got to meet the AD.
You met the AD. You got
the Mountaineer, the West Virginia.
But that's the best part about the college basketball Crown is that it provides some momentum, some juice heading into the next college basketball
Nebraska won it last year.
Yeah.
Started out this season 21-0, Sweet 16 appearance. So
Fred Hoiberg, love that dude. Of course, a big congrats to Blue, Michigan. Congratulations, go Blue. Congrats on that victory. My guy Dan Hurley didn't get the win, but it was a great March Madness for everybody. But it's Masters week. But we have to start with something else, James. President Trump, last Friday, making some big moves to fix college athletics, signing an executive order, putting that into place. It's got to pass Congress, of course, but it would limit the amount of transfers a college student could do to just one throughout their collegiate athletic career. Plus, he's trying to make it just a 5-year situation for college athletes. He's also trying to invest a lot in women's sports and all their endowments, plus taking a closer look at the general situation when it comes to, the funds going towards college athletics and making sure there might be a little bit more parity there. So a lot of good things. We're going to get your thoughts coming up in the next block. But James, what was your initial reaction to this executive order?
I thought this was exactly what college athletics needed. Did it need to come from the president? Maybe not. But were we expecting anything less from the NCAA? And I've talked at length about the incompetence of the NCAA. I think it's the most incompetent sports governing body in America, and the fact that they couldn't figure this out for as long as we've had NIL implemented is embarrassing, but not surprising. No, this is exactly what we needed. We can't be having 25, 26-year-olds on their 7th, 8th year of eligibility, taking away opportunities from 18, 19-year-olds. And we can't be having free agency every season for football, basketball, every other sport. What the players are basically signing 1-year contracts year after year and then entering the portal to see if they can get more money. So now that there are some parameters, hopefully, because this will probably be challenged in court, if there are just some parameters on how long you can play and the amount of times you can transfer before having to sit out, I think is a great thing in taking a step forward in the era of NIL.
Yeah, I think when we're talking sports governing body, there's not a lot of governing going on, and that's the issue. I think there's a couple words that come to mind to me when it comes to what has to happen and what this is really all about. One, regulation. The NCAA needs more regulation. It's the Wild West out there, frankly. And NIL is good. The NCAA is making a ton of money on these TV deals, all types of things, right? Name, image, likeness. College athletes are adults. They should be getting paid to bring their services to these NCAA schools that are making boatloads of money off of them. So we've all gotten to the point now where I think we agree NIL is a good thing. The problem, though, there is no regulation. We need a collective bargaining agreement. We should have a cap. You can't have, we had Ray Brewer on our show the other day. He said LSU football spending $40 million on their football program this year. That's just insanity. It's not fair to all the other schools that are competing for a spot in the college football playoff. I don't love that. There should be a cap on how much you could spend directly to impact your football program. Don't you agree with that?
I don't think I agree. I don't think there should be a cap.
I think there should be a cap. I think that's the number one thing we need to get back to the feeling that we all felt back in the day.
There wasn't a cap back then. Players were getting paid back then
under
too.
the table.
Under the table.
It's a different thing.
But at the end of the day, you can't.
But when things are under the table, it's not happening.
But hear me
in
out.
Broad
At the end of the day, LSU is not UL Monroe.
It's not.
That they should not be on a level playing field in terms of what they can offer financially to these players, because the universities are not on the same level financially, and the endowments and the alumni and things like that.
How does the NFL and the NBA, they function with a cap? We all think that the MLB would be better with a cap, don't you think?
We're talking about professional sports franchises.
But now the NCAA is a professional sports.
But the universities are not. It's operating.
It's operating
like a professional sports league, but at the end of the day, like, yes, the Charlotte Hornets and the LA Lakers, they can offer money-wise similarly. UNLV and LSU cannot offer, well, maybe one day UNLV cannot offer the same.
But maybe all the Big Four operate differently than non-Big Four power schools.
Now we're talking.
So maybe
yes, okay,
the
I can get behind
ACC, the Big Ten, they all have to operate under an agreement that the cap for football in 2026 is this number. We all know the Mountain West is not going to be at that same cap. But I think we should come to a term that the
TV
Power
deals are not
Four,
the same, though.
Right. But the
so the ACC is not making, in their TV rights deal, is not close to what the Big Ten's making. So how are you going to tell Ohio State that they got to operate with the same amount of money that Wake Forest is?
I'm very certain the athletic director and the president of the school would say, hey, you know what? We're making this much money off our TV deal, but we're only, because of our cap, allowed to give this much to the football team. Well, hey, we'll put it back into the program. We'll put it back into the school as a whole. I think it comes down to regulation, it comes down to cap, and it comes down to one other thing, commitment. This can't just be, like James said, each and every single year you're getting divorced from your partner and you go to a new school and you fall in love again and then you get divorced the following year. I can't stand that.
Players on their fifth school.
That's ridiculous.
Got to get rid of it.
So there should be a sense of commitment when you sign that contract, and maybe there can be regulations instituted where, hey, you can either sign a 2-year deal or you could sign a 3-year deal, or maybe it's a 1-year deal and then you got to go to the pro. I don't know. There's got to be some sort of regulation when it comes to all these things, because currently we're in the Wild West and I don't think anybody knows what. It's kind of like AI. We have no clue what the future holds for the NCAA unless there's some regulation. So I'm hoping that happens. Guys, coming up after a short break, we're getting your thoughts on this big topic. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Sound Off Sports. James with you, Mike with you. Now we're going to get to some calls. Of course, we got to talk about President Trump's executive order, the action to save college athletics. We're all coming off of March Madness. We're kind of thinking back to the good old days when we had some Cinderella teams entering the mix. And
NIL's killed that. Man.
NIL killed the Cinderella. Could this help bring it back, some regulation? I think that's the only way to go. You can't go against progress. People at home who are saying, oh, get rid of NIL. You can't be paying college students. That's going too backwards in time. It's like AI. AI is here to stay. The question now becomes, are we going to regulate it? Are we going to make our existence and humanity and our society a place where we can live hand in hand with AI? Or are we going to make it the Wild West where we have no clue and robots take over? So it's the same thing with the NCAA. Let's embrace NIL. Let's embrace where we are today, but let's regulate it a little bit. So, James, let's go to some calls. Let's go to our first call.
I like how President Trump, I like his policies, I like his decisions. I think his decisions are based on common sense. However, I would like to see things play out before the government gets involved, and I'm pretty sure he talked to Saban. So it might be good, but I don't like the government getting involved early on things. Something like that.
Saban was in the mix.
A lot of people think that that's the reason Saban stopped coaching. That's why he retired. Granted, he was on the back end of his career anyway, but they think that that was the nail in the coffin. He didn't want to deal with NIL and the circus that it's kind of been since it's been implemented.
It's a different ball game for all these guys. Even John Calipari was talking about it during March Madness. Like, listen, if this starts getting to a certain point, he was saying, where we're not even talking student athletes, there's no education involved in the mix, then what are we doing here? I might as well go back to the pros. Right. So I think there's an element of all these things, but once you start paying guys $4, $5, $6, $7 million,
those are only going to go up.
Right.
Those are only going to go up
at that point.
Yeah.
So yes, I think Jay Billis said it right. Like, if you want to make education front and foremost a priority at your school, that's on you. That's not on the student anymore so much. They're playing for money. If you're a school where you're saying, hey, you know what, you're going to be in the classroom if you're playing for the blah, blah, blahs, then that's what you do on your own terms. But these are student athletes, but more like, businessmen at this point.
100%.
Yeah.
You look at some of these NIL figures. I think A.J. DeBonsa at BYU, Arch Manning, those are some of the higher levels. I mean, those are nearing like $7 million.
Yeah.
For these.
They're
kids.
making more money than they would be making on their rookie deals.
Right, which is crazy. And
Brock Purdy was under $1 million when he was playing starting quarterback for the 49ers. And these people, so I mean, the way I look at that, you could be like, man, that's a shame. It's crippling what we used to know about college sports. It's changing the landscape. Or you could look at it and say, hey, you know what? Maybe now college basketball has to go back to a 2-year commitment. And what's so bad if you're making a 2-year deal with that kind of money? Maybe the money will keep people in the sport a little bit longer, because it would be fun to see players develop and grow and not to just have to reshuffle a whole team next season through the transfer portal.
Well, when I was first thinking about it, before this executive order came out, I was thinking, how do you stop basically free agency in college athletics? I thought it was more so on the schools. These kids are going to sign contracts like you would a professional athlete. Yeah. And, hey, we want a 2-year commitment out of you, and you're going to have to be here your freshman and sophomore year at least. After that, you want to test the portal, go for it. But
I think that would be good.
But I thought it was going to be on the schools, not so much, regulated by the NCAA, by basically being punished by the amount of times you transfer.
Right, and maybe you would get a premium offer. Hey, you signed 2 years, we're going to push you up to this number because it's a commitment. And I just think the commitment sense will help everything in college sports. Will make people buy into the program, will make the programs be able to develop further. It's a good thing. Let's go to another call, though.
The one transfer, I think, is a good deal, only if the coaches can only make one transfer.
We got to stop acting like players and coaches are on the same level. They're not. The coaches are in charge of the players. They are paid by the university to be that. Yes, it sucks that players are more so expected to be committed than the university than the coaches are.
I think what this guy's saying, which I don't agree with that exactly, but the sentiment is the fact that how is Dusty May coaching for the national championship and UNC is able to call him and field his interest on transferring mid-college basketball tournament.
Yeah.
In the NBA and the NFL, the MLB, there's periods of time where you can have these conversations. And this is a huge, that's why I'm saying.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that is a fantastic point.
Exactly.
That is another thing that needs fixing.
So that's the issue. It's not so much like, a coach should be able to go wherever he wants, but at the same point in time, the commitment goes both ways. So these guys shouldn't be just thinking, damn, I brought Siena to the Sweet 16. Now I'm going off to, the ACC.
Right.
Like, no. There should be a little bit more of an adjusted period of time where you can actually field these offers. You got Bill Murray's son, the assistant coach for UConn. He just took a job with Boston College.
Right.
So throughout the rest of the tournament, he's got like 2 games he's got to coach where he's already being introduced as the head coach of Boston College. Meanwhile, he's trying to prep to win a college basketball tournament.
Let's just go back to the college football season. Lane Kiffin, he had a college football playoff team that he didn't coach.
And they just
so he could leave for a team in the same conference.
It's stupid.
It's ridiculous, and it goes back to my earlier point about how incompetent the NCAA is.
They're not governing.
And has been. They don't do anything, and this is why the president had to step in to stop this nonsense.
So I think everybody
But I think that's the next step.
Right. So everybody at home
and it's not just coaches either. It's about it's players.
It's about everything.
The tampering, there needs to be a tampering
But that's
period.
the point is that you're a league. These are players, they're student athletes, but they're adults that are getting paid. There's TV deals. It's the same thing as the NFL, the MLB, the NBA. It's the same thing.
It operates the same way in that fashion.
But instead of having regulation and having a rhythm and a rhyme and a reason to everything you're doing,
it's a free-for-all.
It's the Wild West, so it makes no sense. So more regulation, the better. That's how you solve these things. And then people will start to feel once again like we're back to the good old days and the heydays of college sports where a coach just can't pick up and leave mid-college football playoffs because he got a better deal somewhere else. That's. I mean, I want to use an expletive, but I'm not going to use it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes, and the fact that that's ever been allowed is absurd.
So hopefully this new executive order helps with all things in that nature and that realm. Coming up, guys, we're celebrating the Masters. We got a former professional golfer joining me in the studio. We're going to be breaking down all things Masters and even getting a prediction.
You're watching Sound Off Sports, sponsored by Silver State Schools Credit Union.
We're here in the den, Sound Off Sports, hanging out with Nisha Sadaker, President CEO of PGD Global, announcing the big news. October 5th, that's when the Nevada Donor Network Golf Invitational is going to be going down. Let's talk a little Masters stuff, Nisha. So last year, Rory McIlroy, he does it. He gets the career Grand Slam. It has evaded him, that Masters green jacket, for a long time.
I try not to cry in golf, but I cried on that one.
Why?
Well, I've been watching Rory, since I was a little girl. So I've watched him compete, and I've watched him shoot 80 at the final round and lose the Masters, literally lose it.
Yeah.
And so to see him come this far, it just shows you, like, sometimes, there's a reality around the game where maybe it's time to set the clubs down, but that was never reality.
Thank you so much to Nisha Sadaker for joining us. Go to our YouTube page to hear the full interview. That's at Silver State Sports. All right, sink or swim time here on Sound Off Sports. Coming up shortly in the month, on the 23rd, we're going to have the NFL draft. Of course, the Mendoza mania has already started, James. I love this dude. He's the savior for the silver and black for Raider Nation. I can't wait to be sporting a number 15 jersey. I can't wait. But we just got some news from Adam Schefter that Mendoza is planning are not going to the draft and celebrating with his family in Miami.
When was the last time a number 1 overall pick wasn't in attendance for the draft?
That's a good question. I can't even remember.
Because that's like the point. That's the whole thing. When you're the number 1 pick, you're the star of the show. You're on the stage. You're hugging Roger Goodell. You're holding up your jersey that's already been pre-made because they knew you've been the pick for months. When was the last time that happened? And I understand his mom is she's sick and
she's in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
it's a different
and I understand it from that perspective. But we were talking about it earlier in the office. She was at the national championship.
Yeah,
so
she was going.
Could she make it to the draft too?
I'm sure they could have made accommodations for her. I don't really think it's about his mom. I think it's more so he wants to celebrate with a ton of people in his family. We all know the green room at the draft. Maybe you have a table if you're that level of a prospect.
Yeah,
you got 8 people with you there.
Yeah.
So maybe he wants to celebrate with a bunch of people. It's a strange choice actually, but I would say Mendoza, it's authentic to him. Like, I don't think he's doing this from a weird place.
No.
It's something that I think is authentic to his nature.
100%. He's just truly has that much love for his family and that much appreciation for the people that have been there with him from day one. This isn't about him trying to make some sort of statement or trying to be different. This is just truly because he loves his family, and if you're a Raiders fan, you got to love that.
It's just so fascinating because it's not like, Shador years past or Ty Simpson this year who's like not sure he's going to be a first-round pick, so you don't want to just be waiting in the green room for a round or two, so you decide to just stay home. I mean, he's going to be the first pick.
Yeah.
So it's just like we got to look that up after the show. Let's go look up who is the last.
I thought
player.
he just didn't want to go to Pittsburgh, and I
taking offense.
Yeah, I was like, hey, there's a lot of great things to do. You go get Permani's sandwich, get you an icy light pounder. You could ride the incline down Mount Washington. There's a lot to do.
See, he should have spoke to you. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Give us a call, 702-855-3502. We always love to hear your thoughts. If you know the answer to James' question, if you know who the last number 1 overall pick was who did not show up to the draft, give us a call and let us know. We'll see you next time here on Sound Off Sports.